Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. It's 2 o'clock. Um, Welcome to our financial webinar on kids and money, financial skills for surviving and thriving. My name is Lance J. Branch. I'm an LPL financial advisor and LPL registered principal. Teaching kids about money isn't always easy. To help parents sort of deal with this, I put together a program to introduce some key topics like what to do with kids when it comes to money and when to teach them, at what age to start talking with them about money, and just in general how to handle money when you have kids. We'll also look at specific goals and activities for particular age groups. As many of you know, I have 2 kids, and I'll share personal experiences on how we deal with money with my 2 kids, and just sort of give you some ideas on in different things you can do with regard to money, and talking with them about finances, with your kids. I have one older son that's 14 and a 9-year-old. And I'll share with you some things that work, some things that don't work. So let's go ahead and get into it. So what's a parent to do? Parenting is really, really, really tough. And you know, raising kids is tough. And this is one area where you need to sort of teach your kids about, because they're going to learn it, if not from you, from somebody else, and they could be learning the wrong thing. I could tell you as a financial advisor, when I sit down with somebody who graduates from college, they know they know astonishingly little about finance and about money in general. Kids, including my own, think money grows on trees. Parents, how a parent's supposed to deal with this attitude is a big, big, big challenge with parenting. And how can they basically change it is something that we have to come up with, because we can't raise kids that think that money grows on trees, because when eventually they're going to get into the real world and they realize that, hey, look, I have a job, I make money, taxes come out, and I use that money to spend for for everyday things that I need to survive. Um, you know, the main thing you're going to need to do is how can you as parents encourage a practical sense and good practice of money, in spending on money. This is one of our key responsibilities of parents. Today, we'll walk you through some basics. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with basically in the last age group is 18 to 21, but basically 3 to 4 age groups. So, 3 to 5, 6 to 12 would be another age group, 12 or 13 on up to 18, and then 18 and up. So really 4 age groups. And I'm going to give you some ideas with regard to each age group on how you can handle and how you can talk to your son or daughter about money. Where do kids learn about money? You can see the top place is parents. And they're going to watch some of the things that you do, and they're going to mimic it whether you like it or not. So if you're just spend every dime and you don't really care about money, and you spend every dime you make and you don't save, you would be amazed how much kids learn and how much they're watching you, even though you might not think they are. With regard to the second area that they're learning about money is from their friends, which can be good and bad. The third area is media. And look, it's in my opinion that is not really good, because media is, pop stars, and some of these people that they admire have, they don't live within a budget, so they have an unlimited supply of funds. And a lot of times our kids are learning that, hey, well, look, money is a never-ending spigot that you can just turn on and buy whatever you want. And then the last area that they're learning about finance and money is teachers. With regard to this, that's kind of sad, because it's in my opinion that they should be learning, at least in elementary school, basics of finance, finance, sort of finance 101. Um, and they're not, because they did a poll with regard to this, and this is where they're getting their information from. All of this is these polls, the prior one and this one is done by the Ment.org, and it's a poll of young people. And I'd like to tell you that this is presentation is coming from Money as You Grow, and it's a financial education program. And again, before I go any further, there's a question and answer button. Go ahead and ask any questions, and I'll answer them to the best of my ability. Let's. So, why do kids ask parents for money? Number one thing, in my house, it's not any different than this. They're going to the show, or at least they were going to the show prior to COVID, with their friends. They're going out to eat with their friends. They want a game, a toy, or a phone, an educational item. Actually, that's happened with my oldest son, in that he wanted a special calculator for one of his math class. And then again, the last part that is 1% is charity. This is a major part that I'm starting to teach my kids about, and that you should give a certain amount of what you make to charity. What I will tell you with regard to this is, it's pretty interesting, because the Ment.org said they asked kids, hey, look, when you ask for more money or you go over your budget, how often does your parents say, hey, look, we'll just give them money if they ask for it over their budget? And 2/3 of the time they said always. 25% of the time they said sometimes, and kids saying never or never asked made up only 11%. So again, you want to really stick within a budget. So I'll give you an example. My kids we go out to eat every Saturday at 12 o'clock, and they like to go to Fuddruckers or Whataburger to eat hamburgers. And we know that we can spend $75 a month on eating out for that event. So they know basically that we can, they know if they want to go, there's 4 weeks in a month, they split it up. And if on the third week we're out of the $75 because we went to an expensive place, they know that next weekend we're going to have to skip. And no, I do not make exceptions. I don't let them borrow from the next week. I stay within that budget, because I'm trying to teach them good money tools. What the kids need to know, cash flow, and again, I would start that out, with kids. They need to know that basically cash comes in, and you make money if you work, and you use that money to buy things. And they need to know that basically cash comes in and cash goes out for things that you need and want. They need to know the difference between needs and wants. A need is something that you need to survive. So like food, a want is, the PS5 or a new doll if you have a girl. I will tell you this, kids will try to convince you that wants are needs. So they'll say, well, I need a PS5, when in actuality they only they want a PS5. It's not something that is a method for their survival. They need to know about making choices, so comparing and making decisions. If they have $25 to spend at a store, and something is one price and something is another price, do they want to get just one thing that equals the $25, or do they want to get one thing that equals 10 and one thing that equals 15? So they need to know how to make choices, and they need to know how to compare prices on certain things. And I would start that in the second age group, so 6 to 12. And actually, I take my 9-year-old to the store, and we start to price compare. And I'm starting to do that now with him, where we're price comparing between two different products. The next thing is they need to sort of get the whole concept of the power of saving. Even 3 to 5 years old, you could teach a 3 to 5 year old how to save, and the power of saving and saving up for some delayed gratification. So saving up for a PS5, or saving up for a trip, or saving up for a toy or something else that you want in the future. Credit cards, you need to start teaching your kids about credit cards. I would say in the teenage years, because they're going to learn about them. So I will tell you this: when you get to college, in the cafeterias, they're going to have the credit card companies, or at least they did, signing kids up. And you're going to need to help them understand that if they buy something on a credit card, it is actually costing them money, because there's a bill at the end of the month. I don't think credit cards are bad, especially for 18 to 21 year olds, because it helps them get sort of build a credit history, which they're going to need to do. And a credit card could be the first thing where, hey, they basically spend $50 and they pay it off, and it helps them build credit history when they have none. So again, it's not a bad thing, but it could be a bad thing. It could turn unhealthy, but you want to sort of talk to them before they go to college about credit cards. With regard to earnings and taxes, I would start that at a fairly young age. They need to know. My 14-year-old's talking about going to work at Chick-fil-A and getting a job, and he needs to know that if he makes $10 an hour, $8 an hour, that's not going to be the money that's going to actually get deposited into his bank account, or a check that's given to him every week. He needs to understand that taxes are going to get taken out, and the importance of taxes in any functioning society. How do we teach kids about money? Number one way is by example. So again, what I said before, they're gonna mimic basically how you live your financial life. So be structured, have guidelines. You allow for mistakes, but address mistakes. So if you make a mistake and they see that, don't just go over it and ignore it. Bring it up to them and say, hey, look, mommy and daddy made a mistake. We went over budget on something, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to do better next month, because nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect, and we make mistakes. I would start to talk to kids about bank statements, at a fairly young age. So that second age group, 6 to 12. Open up a bank account with them. You can go to Chase and start putting money in a Chase account, and they will let you have a savings account or a free bank account for your child. And when that statement comes, you can see how much interest they earned, how much money is accumulated in the account, and it's pretty interesting for them. Explain. Another thing you could do is explain credit card bills to them. I would say, Dylan, my oldest son, I've showed him what a credit card bill looks like, and the amount of interest that's charged if you don't pay it off at the end of the year, at the end of the month, excuse me. So he's getting exposed to that at a fairly young age. Just give me 1 second. And again, the other thing I will tell you, if you listen to my prior seminars, we use mint.com to track all of our purchases and sources of income. And we have a family meeting to review monthly where we spent money and how much we spent in certain areas. The kids are more interested in where the eating out budget, because they like I said before, they like to go eat hamburgers once a week. And we've done a really good job of sticking in that budget. So when should you teach about money? Like I said before, 3 to 5 years old and we'll end with, people who are in their late teens, early 20s for the sake of this presentation. But I would start teaching a 3 to 5 year old, the basics about money. You don't have to use actual money for a 3 to 5 year old, but one example, one thing that I would do if I had a child that young is I would get a piggy bank. It's Christmas time. It's something easy to get. It's something that I used when I was a kid, and it's a way for them to teach that, hey, if I do an action, I get something in return, and you could take that something in return and put it somewhere, and it could build up in a piggy bank. And again, that doesn't have to be money. You can an idea that I have that I was thinking of before this presentation is you can use beans. And if your son or daughter picks up their room every day, they get 1 bean for each day they pick up their room. And those beans can be traded for something of value. So you're teaching your 3 to 5 year old that if I do something, I get something in return, and I can save that something in return for something down the road after I get so much of something. Up to age 5, I mean, they go to your again 3 to 5 years old. They're going to the store with you. They need to understand the concept that they need money to buy. I would, if I had a 3 to 5 year old, earn money by working, and teach them again that you need to wait before you can buy something. You can't just again, money doesn't just grow on trees. You need to accumulate something and save up for something before you buy something. And again, needs versus wants, you could teach them at, up to age 5. Again, a need is something that you need to survive. It's survival, so it's food. A want is that special doll that your daughter's always wanted, or the PS5 that your son or daughter has wanted. And again, this is up to age 5. They need money to buy stuff. Identify coins and their value, even if it's a bean, like in my prior example. But in this case, you could teach them what a penny is, teach them what a nickel is, teach them what a dime is. And your kids are going to be way ahead of what most kids are out there. And earn by working. With regard to that, picking up clothes. I don't think at 5 years old you can do the dishes, but maybe cleaning their room. That's all things that can be done. And again, wait before you can buy. That money doesn't just grow on trees, and there isn't an endless supply of money. 6 to 12. This is a extremely interesting age group because they're going to learn a whole lot, and you need to sort of reinforce good choices. Again, I take my 9-year-old and they need to learn how to make choices with regard to a big purchase. So I'll give you an example. You can do this by taking them to the grocery store. I took Evan to the grocery store and we wanted to buy shrimp. And one type of shrimp was $19.95 a pound. Another type of shrimp was about $4.99 a pound. So I asked Evan, I said, do you think that $19.95 a pound shrimp is really that much better than the $4.95? And he understands the difference in money and how much you can buy versus the other. So they need to understand. They need to basically make choices between in this case shrimp A versus shrimp B. I can't stress this enough, but online safety needs to come into with regard to this. Kids are going to get online at a young age, and they need to understand that they need to protect their money and that there's bad people out there trying to get their money. This is one place where I've actually failed. I've gotten a lot better in the past couple of months. but especially if you have teenagers, the amount of bad actors that are out there, you need to teach your kids about that. And again, make choices, include, when you go to the store, include your children in small financial decisions, like the example that I gave. You could teach them to compare prices, teach them about online safety, and teach them that they need to protect their money from, bad actors. This is actually, so the age, 3 to 5, you can use a piggy bank. This age, you could take them to Chase and set them and get them a savings account set up at Chase. If or any institution, we bank with Chase is one of the places we bank with, and they let you have a minor account for free. And it's something that my kids look forward to, because we get the statement every month, and we open up the statement and see how much interest they made, how much money they have in their account, so on and so forth. Okay, age 13 to 31, 13 to 21, excuse me. Again, you want to teach them online safety, continue that from the prior age group. They need to understand that they are saving a specific amount, and this is very key. So with my 14-year-old, we just recently, just in the past couple of months, got him a green light card. And I highly recommend Green Light, because it's $5 a month, and it allows you to basically, give an allowance to your son or daughter each week, and it automatically does that, and it'll go into certain subgroups. So Dylan gets $12.50 a week, and he can get, let's say, $5 to spend, $5 to save, and $2.50 to go to charity, or another subgroup that Green Light comes up with. And in that regard, it isn't a credit card, it's a debit card, but he's getting experience on using, a plastic or something other than cash to go pay for something. And again, Green Light, it's an app on your phone, and you can see where they're spending money, how much they have on their Green Light card. It teaches them money management. It's worth the $5 a month. They need to understand compound interest makes money, how compound interest makes money grow. So, if you're earning interest on your money, that money is going to be worth more the next year than what you put in. And again, it's not a whole lot in a savings account, but they'll understand the concept of when they open up that bank statement, or at least my kids, when they do, they see that interest factor. And even though it's 25 cents, it's something, and they see that they're at least earning something on their money. Again, save a specific amount. In my case, deposit it on a Green Light card each month. In this case, each week. Teach them online safety, never answer emails from unknown people. Teach them compound interest, how it makes your money grow, and that's important for your money to be set aside in a savings account and earn at least something. And this is especially, we've started doing it with my 14-year-old. Teach them what a credit card statement is, and go over it with them when it comes in the mail, or when it comes in an email. Age 13 to 21 is also when you could start to compare colleges. Avoid using credit cards. Again, I'm not saying avoid using credit cards when you're 13 to 21, or 18 to 21 is when they start to get, they can apply for a credit card. But you want to teach them what a credit card is, and that they shouldn't overuse it, and that money needs to be paid at the end of the month. With regard to comparing colleges, just going to the most expensive school for whatever degree you're going to get. I could tell you this: my son, at even before 14, understands that if he goes to a school that is $60,000 or $70,000 a year, or whatever it's going to be when he when he goes to college, he's going to need to get a degree that's going to be worth that amount of money that he's paying for. If they have earned income, they can do an IRA, and I think that's a great idea. It teaches them to put money in a retirement account. I can tell you my example with this is I have one client that is 29 years old, and he worked when he was 16 in retail, and he had earned income, W-2 earned income, and his grandpa would put $1,000 in a Roth IRA each year for him, and would just give it to him. And again, it teaches them it's going to be invested. In this case, it was invested in stocks, and it teaches them that they're earning something on their money, and it gets them exposed to investing. But again, they need to have earned income. Again, compare colleges. You can research scholarships. Maintain a spending and savings plan. Paycheck deductions for saving. Consider direct deposit. So if they get a job at this point, tell them, hey, look, we're going to put 10% of your whatever you make in a savings account. And then the last thing you could do is start an IRA, and that is really going to be important because it's going to get them exposed to investing. 18 and up, this is where I see, I guess, sort of disasters. If you don't teach them about credit cards, they're going to learn about credit cards when they get to college, because they get signed up for credit cards typically in the cafeteria. At least they did in the past. Kids can stay on their parents' health insurance till they're 27. However, they need to understand that insurance is something that you buy, and it's something that needs to be paid for. And I would get your kid to pay for their health insurance. An emergency fund is something that you can teach your kids about at this age, especially right now. We're going through COVID, and in Houston they went through a major hurricane, Harvey, and I went through Hurricane Katrina. Kids need to understand that we're going to set money aside each month, sort of. This says an emergency fund, but I call it a rainy day fund, and that should be 3 to 6 months of a child's expenses. In this case, a young adult's expenses. So teach them that your expenses are $1,000 a month. We're going to put away $3,000. Our goal is to get up to $3,000 minimum in an emergency fund savings account. The last thing is teach them about investing expenses. There are risk and rewards in the annual expenses that you pay when you invest. So my example with this, and my son's 14, he's not 18 and up, but he does have an investing account, and he wanted to cash out of the stock that he's had that we gave him and buy this hot stock that was going public this past week. And I had to sit down and explain to him that, yes, the stock that he owns is slow and steady, and it's going to make money each, it's not a high flyer stock that you're going to make 200% in one day on, but the stock that he wanted had a lot of risk. And that is, it was a nice moment for me to talk about risk and reward with my 14-year-old. And again, the lack of knowledge for even 21-year-olds is quite astounding that I see. And again, look for low interest rates on credit cards and no fees if they get a credit card. With regard to health insurance, and encourage them to comparison shop. Even if they stay on your plan, you can show them option A, option B. Emergency fund, 3 to 6 months of expenses, and then definitely get them into investing by 18, even prior to that. But explore fund management and other fees, and show them how that can affect their returns in the end. I'm going to tell you this, allowance should start, you could start an allowance between 3 and 5. Again, a 3 to 5 year old use a piggy bank. 6 to 12 year old, you can start with a bank account, and then 13 and up, 13 to 18, you could start with the green light card, a move to a green light card. It's going to take them through a progression, but I would definitely start an allowance uh, before age 5. They need to understand, at 4 or 5 years old, that if they do something, they're going to get something, they're going to get rewarded with something. And again, it doesn't have to be money at that young age, or you can expose them to money, but it teaches them basic finance skills, and it sets a foundation. This They give you a guideline. I totally disagree with this. I could tell you what we do. My 14-year-old gets $12.50 dollars a month, and he has to work for it. It's just my opinion that these numbers are a little too high, and I would shift it down a little bit. Again, you don't want them to think that money grows on trees. Regardless of age, decide what expenses your child is expected to cover. School lunches, I wouldn't have them cover it, but entertainment, I would, and basic clothing, we cover. We don't get them to pay for that, but entertainment and eating out is basically their major expense with regard to their allowance. Allowance guidelines for parents: set expectations and guidelines, be consistent, and don't withhold for mistakes. So I'll give you a sort of example with my 14-year-old. He went out on a date. His green light card didn't have enough money on it. He made a mistake, and I gave him more money, but it was a learning experience. He needs to check his green light card to see how much he has to spend before he takes somebody out to the show and for dinner. Encourage them not to use every bit of money that they get. So you want to teach them to save. Reinforce, look, from 3 to 5 years old on up to 18 to 21 years old, reinforce needs and wants. They need to learn. That's a basic financial knowledge set point that they need to learn. Even all the way to I'm 44, you need to learn what is a need and what is a want. And provide safe saving. So again, young child piggy bank, 6 to 12 years old, bank account, 13 and up, green light card, and again, a bank account he would have before that. But teach them, that they're keeping money in a safe place, and it's safe, and they're not going to lose their money. Review. Let's go ahead and start the review. What kids need to know. We went over that. How to teach kids about money. Age groups and milestones. We went over 4 age groups and gave you some ideas on how to teach kids how to save. And then we went over allowance, on when to do that, and how much to start, and how to handle allowance. Again, with the whole green light thing is something that we just did. It's worked out wonderful, and it's worth the $5 a month. And let's go ahead and take some questions. We have one question. Okay, does the allowance go into the green light card on their savings account? Okay, let me tell you this. Green light is awesome. Okay, I can't stress that enough. So when you go into green light, so in this case, it's going to pay Dylan $50 a month. They actually have it'll tell me that $40 is in his spend account and $10 is in his savings account. So it'll actually segregate the money out. So it's actually a pretty good program. And that is, let me just go continue through this. And again, this just in general, my name is Lance Branch. I'm with LPL Financial. We guarantee you 3 meetings with me at no cost and no obligation to you. We'll meet you and identify your goals. We assess your financial situation and risk tolerance, and then we deliver a plan to you, which you can either use and let us implement, or you can take the plan and it's free to keep along with the recommendations. We actually bring kids into this, into financial meetings to sort of teach them at a young age, you know, what an investing account is, what a checking account is, what a savings account. We go through all of this. And if your kids want to, they can sit on a meeting, and it's actually quite informative. Hold one second. We have a chat thing. Okay. Okay. So we have a question. Investing experience. Are there any programs or websites for kids? And then, okay. And then Natalia telling me one more question came in via chat. Here's what I will tell you with regard to investing. And I wanted to go into this, but I sort of forgot about it. I don't know, some of you guys and gals I've shared with this about, but I got into investing when I was 13 years old. I had my grandpa give me 10 shares of Disney stock in 1989. I would do that because, again, they're getting a share certificate and they're going to get dividend checks. So it's a way for them to get something that they can see rather than it just being in a Fidelity account. And they're going to get dividend checks, which is a way for you to teach them about dividends and teach them how to, you know, put a check in their bank account. Now, I'm going to tell you this, at some point, I think the first 5 years, I got the dividend checks, and then I realized that you could actually buy more shares of, in this case, Disney with that dividend payment. So I switched it to buy more shares. What I would do is, if I had young kids, I would give them shares of either, I'm going to tell you the 2 most popular ones out there are Coke and Disney, and they're given around Christmas time. So you'll see more Coke and Disney requests where they're buying, let's say, 10 shares of each, and they're requesting certificates. So they're not holding the stock in firm name. So that would be where I would start. You know, the second question is, you know, can you open up a small Robinhood account to teach kids basics of investing? You can, but I'm going to tell you that the whole stock certificate thing, and again, stock certificates are not used widely right now, but it's a way for them to initially see, you know, have something to hold or something to open up or something to look at, rather than just seeing that they own 100 shares of Coca-Cola or 10 shares of Disney in a Wells Fargo account, or Wells Fargo's. Why I said that was that's one of the ones my son owns, but in a Fidelity account or a Robinhood account. So again, I have my email address and my cell phone number. You can call me or text me or email me with any questions about what we talked about today. And this will go ahead and conclude our seminar today. And thank you for joining. Bye-bye.